Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome. I'm so glad to be here. Just want to pop on here again. It's Tuesday, obviously, and I'm here to talk a little bit about one of the books I'm reading on my coaching group, in my coaching group, I should say. And this week, man, I have the pleasure of talking about a book by Bob Proctor. Now, some of you may or may not be aware, or maybe are not within the sphere of personal development and growth. I've been spending a lot of time. Obviously, if you've been tuning in, spending time studying and working with people. My personal coach, who is a direct, he works directly with Bob Proctor. Now, Bob Proctor himself, man, I can't say enough great things about this man. He's an institution. And I literally mean that. He is a literal institution. He's been studying personal growth and personal development for well over 60 years. His mentor was, or one of his mentors was Earl Nightingale, and some of you may know him. You probably will recognize his voice. He sounds a lot like what's his name? The guy who did the War of the Worlds. I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, he had this very distinct voice, and he was Earl Nightingale was a leader in personal development, personal growth in the '60s, and he was a direct. His mentor was Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. And Napoleon Hill, his mentor was Andrew Carnegie. And I think you'd have to be pretty much born on an island under a rock, in a native village, not to know who Andrew Carnegie was. So, anyway, my point is that Bob Proctor has studied with, and learned from some of the greats. And what's really interesting, and before I talk a little about the book that he wrote and the chapter that I'm going to focus on, what's interesting about every one of these people, Bob Proctor, Andrew Carnegie, Earl Nightingale, and pretty much anyone who is a quote unquote self-made millionaire or self-made successful person, is that, and this is the only difference, by the way, between like you and I or anyone else. The only difference was they believed in themselves and they believed in their ability to create their own economy, to create their own wealth, to do something that most everyone else in the world told them they couldn't do. That's it. No other difference. Most of us have been sold a bill of goods. Hey, unless your name is not, Rockefeller or Carnegie you know, or unless you've not been born into wealth, if you're not Donald Trump's son, or if you're not Bill Gates, child. I don't know, just Bill Gates. Do they have kids? I'm not sure, but you get what I'm saying. Like, unless you were born into the situation, like circumstance, coincidence, luck, if you didn't win the lottery by being born into a family of privilege, or if you weren't actually born into a family of privilege, other than winning lottery, then you can't be wealthy. And most of us have accepted that, and that's so far from the truth, because each one of these men have demonstrated that they came from nothing and made something of themselves. And I'm not going to go on and on about each one of them, but just take Bob Proctor as an example. He had 2 years of high school, was not by any means successful or wealthy when he graduated. I don't know if he graduated, but when he entered the world of the working world, but he started to shift his thinking, and that was what enabled him, within a decade or two, to go from making 4,000 a month, owing $6,000 a year, to making 175,000, and then 5 to 6 years later, making over $1 million a year. So, anyway, in his book, You Were Born Rich, in chapter 3, he talks about the image maker, and most of us, we don't think about that. We don't think about like the image of who we want to be. We don't envision ourselves as uh, having this innate ability and power within ourselves to create something. But that's exactly who we are. God has given us or the universe, whatever you believe, but we have the innate ability to create things. Think about it. Everything is created twice. Nothing it first has to come from up in here. The first chair, the first wheel, the first idea, of anything, the first iPhone, the first rocket that carried a man to space, the first airplane that flew the Wright brothers. That all came from an idea inside of someone's mind that they envisioned, and they just cultivated it. In his book, there was chapter 3. He tells a story about this farmer who spends all this time cultivating his field and plowing it and making this amazing thing. And there's this minister who's watching the farmer, and the farmer and the minister happen to have a chat, and the minister says, "Man, look what God has given you." And the farmer says, "You're right. I'm blessed. I've been given a lot of prosperity and abundance, and God has been good to me. But you should have seen what this field looked like before God, when God had it to Himself." And what that message is about is that we have been giving a lot of all the tools that we need to create and build prosperity, not prosperity and abundance, but all the to receive it into our lives. Not It's already out there. We don't create it. It's already in existence. But to receive it, we have been given every single tool to be able to receive that. But you know, just like an engine that needs fixed, or a roof that needs repaired, having the tools doesn't fix that issue or doesn't create that reception. You have to be an active participant. That is the key. We've all been given everything that we need to be able to receive prosperity and abundance. But if you're not willing to be an active participant, um, by believing, by envisioning, by imagining, and being the image maker of your own reality, uh, as opposed to a um, someone who's watching their own movie when they're not the active star, then you are not really enabling yourself to receive that. So anyway, that's what I took away from this, is that really, God and the universe is giving us everything that we need to have everything that we've ever wanted or desired. But you have to step up to the plate and really be an active participant. You can't sit on the sidelines. You can't be an extra. That's what I was trying to think of. You cannot be an extra in your own movie. You have to see yourself as the star. You have to see yourself as someone who's there, a part of that story, creating that story, literally directing and writing and starring in your own movie. If you're unwilling to do that, then the universe is just gonna. You're just gonna. It's like rolling dice. Then you are leaving it up to coincidence. You are leaving it up to chance. And generally, when you leave things up to chance in the universe, you don't get what you want. You get whatever. It's like a dog begging for table scraps. You're going to get whatever's on the left after people are done eating, and that's not what you deserve. That's not what I deserve. That's not what any of us deserve. So the message here is: be an active participant, be an image maker. So I just want to share that with you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I really, really love that everyone's tuning in, and I love all the comments. So if this is the first time you've been here, drop a "Hey, my first time." If you're watching on replay, say replay. And if you're just here for the second or third time, say, "Hey, love the message. Really, really appreciate it." So anyway, I love you guys. Take care, and I will see you again in a week.